Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is LuckyBunz, and in today's Pokemon Go video, we're going to be going over why you should never purify your shadow Pokemon in Pokemon Go, with the exception of a few cases. As always though, before we get started with the video here, if you do end up enjoying it, if you do find it helpful, please make sure to smash that like button down below. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. And of course, if you do want to see more of these Pokemon Go videos in the future, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button as well and turning on the bell notification. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Now, I've actually covered this on the channel before, but I keep getting comments about this, so I just felt like I should make another video on it. For those of you guys who are maybe newer players to Pokemon Go, or for those of you who are returning and you don't really understand why you shouldn't be purifying your shadow Pokemon, there have been so many instances where people have actually purified their shadow Pokemon just to get better IVs, because for those of you who don't know, when you purify a shadow Pokemon, it actually goes up +2 IVs for every individual stat. So for example, if you had an IV spread on a shadow Pokemon of 13, 13, 13, if you purified that Pokemon, you would get the perfect IV spread of 15, 15, 15 across the board, essentially a hundo. And of course, that is definitely the appeal to many people. Hundo hunting is a big chase in Pokemon Go. I mean, no doubtably, it is definitely something that we all want to get on our Pokemon. Basically, getting 100% IVs on any Pokemon is going to be the ultimate flex, except in the case of purifying your shadow Pokemon. Now, some of you have really gotten it into your head that you need to have like these phenomenal IVs to power up your Pokemon, but in the case of shadow Pokemon, it doesn't work in the same sense, right? So first of all, you have the base stats of a Pokemon. That should be the overall indicator that you should use to value a Pokemon in terms of its ability. Additionally, you have the IVs, which stands for individual values, so this can be up to +15 on the attack, defense, and stamina sections of that Pokemon's base stats. And then finally, you have the potential shadow bonus on a Pokemon, which is going to give you a 20% attack increase, but a 20% defense reduction. So essentially, the Pokemon is going to be significantly more powerful, but it's also going to be a bit more glassy, meaning that it can't actually stay in battles as long. But for the most part, if you're just focused on DPS, damage per second, this really shouldn't be a big deal, especially when it comes down to PvP scenarios where shadow Pokemon are definitely going to have a massive advantage despite having that 20% defense reduction. So basically, in simple terms, a 0% IV shadow Pokemon is going to be better than a purified 100% IV Pokemon. And that's essentially the point that I'm trying to get across here. So many people seem to get the order mixed up in terms of how powerful a Pokemon is going to be. So to clarify things, it's going to go in this order: base stats, shadow bonus, and then IVs. So at the end of the day, if you have a really powerful Pokemon like Shadow Mewtwo, for example, which we've talked about a ton on the channel, so hopefully some of you are familiar with this example. Shadow Mewtwo is an amazing Pokemon. Its base attack stat is 300. With the additional shadow boost of 20%, that is going to be massive. And then you factor in the +15 potential on IVs, and it's even better than that. But the two most important factors there are going to be its initial base stats plus the shadow bonus of 20%. Now that doesn't mean that IVs are not going to be important, it just means that IVs are going to be the third most important factor in the process. Once again, base stats, shadow bonus, and then IVs. Now of course there are going to be a few exceptions in terms of purifying your shadow Pokemon, but for the most part, like 99% of the time, I would not purify your shadow Pokemon. Now if you're a little bit curious in terms of what those exceptions are going to be, I wrote down a couple. So the first one being certain PvP scenarios. So if you actually purify a shadow Pokemon, it's going to unlock the exclusive move Return, which on some Pokemon is going to be really important in PvP scenarios. A good example of this is going to be Shadow Sableye, or should I say Purified Sableye, because Sableye having the move Return is going to deal a ton of damage, which is really beneficial for that Pokemon build. But again, this is not going to be the case for every single purified Pokemon. Some of their other moves are going to be significantly better to use opposed to Return, but there are certain scenarios where Return is going to be extremely important. Now of course this is going to vary for every Pokemon, so I'll leave it up to you to do the research in terms of which one you think Return would be the most beneficial on, opposed to their other specific movesets. Now the second one is going to be purifying Pokemon for research tasks. So you may get a task every now and then that says purify 3 shadow Pokemon, or maybe it's part of your special research like the Rocket research and it says purify 5 shadow Pokemon. In this case, yeah, you can go ahead and purify some shadow Pokemon. What I do recommend purifying is Pokemon that only require 1000 Stardust to purify. A great example of this is going to be Zubat. I mark all of my Zubats with a purify tag, and that way I can just purify them whenever I need to. They only cost 1000 Stardust and I'm good to go. Opposed to some of the other Pokemon, for example being 3000 Stardust. or in some cases, like for example Shadow Snorlax, let me scroll down to it, being 5,000 Stardust to Purify. So it really does depend on each specific Pokemon, and ultimately you don't want to be wasting your Stardust for no reason. Purify the Shadow Pokemon that only cost 1,000 Stardust if you can. And then finally the last one is going to be a branch off of the second one. It's going to be the level 45 requirement, Purify 100 Shadow Pokemon. This is a lot of Shadow Pokemon to purify, and you definitely want to purify Pokemon that you aren't going to be using for PvP scenarios or for potentially raid scenarios. Again, you know, like the examples I just went over with the Zubat, 1,000 Stardust Pokemon to Purify are going to be your best friend here. You don't want to spend unnecessary Stardust. I mean, this is essentially a 300,000 Stardust investment if you go for that 3,000 Stardust option, whereas it could be a 100,000 Stardust investment just to level up. There's no rush to level up in Pokemon Go. If you want to get to level 50, that's totally cool. I respect that. But keep in mind that if you're going to try and rush through it, you're going to spend a lot more Stardust than you probably need to. And I lied because I said that was the third and final one. We actually have a fourth one, and that's going to be Mega Evolutions, although we're not really going to talk about this one too much in this video. It's kind of a debatable section because in some scenarios you might want to purify a Shadow Pokemon to eventually get it with better IVs. That way you can Mega Evolve it in the future, and that might be better for the Pokemon rather than having it in its final stage evolution form and then using it with the Shadow Boost. This is debatable because it really does depend on each scenario. For example, I still believe that Shadow Mewtwo is going to be better than its Mega Evolved forms. Don't quote me on that, but I'm almost positive that it is going to be. Once again, going back to the Shadow Mewtwo example, in this case, right, you can only have one Mega Evolved Pokemon at a time, whereas you can have potentially 6 Shadow Mewtwo in your lineup and you're good to go. So, you know, essentially you could also just catch a regular Mewtwo, or you could even trade it and get a Lucky Mewtwo, use that one for your Mega Evolution and still hold on to your Shadow Mewtwo. So like best case scenario, you have a Mega Mewtwo X, right, with 5 other Shadow Mewtwo in your line. You're gonna dominate no matter where you go. You're gonna completely dominate with the Mega Evolution plus 5 Shadow Mewtwo. You could also have 6 Shadow Mewtwo, that's going to work equally as well. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, kind of just depends. I don't really know the stats as of right now, but it's really, really close on that line. And again, with that 20% attack boost, it does make a massive difference, guys. And so hopefully that does make sense to you guys in terms of why you should almost never purify your Shadow Pokemon in Pokemon Go. Once again, there are a few exceptions to this, but like 99% of the time, you really should not purify your Shadow Pokemon. You're most likely going to find a situation where they are going to be very, very beneficial to you. And then one more thing I do want to mention here is that Shadow Pokemon will be a little bit more expensive in terms of powering up. They will cost more Stardust and they will cost more candy, including that secondary charge move unlock. But trust me when I say this, it is totally worth it for that extra damage boost. The Shadow Pokemon grind is definitely one that does require a lot of persistence. As you guys can tell, I don't really have too many that I've built myself, and this is mainly just due to the fact that I don't have the ideal IV spreads yet, but hopefully in the future I will get my hands on them. I do have some Pokemon that I am currently thinking about building in the future, but as of right now, some of the main ones that I have currently built for PvP are going to be Shadow Machamp for Ultra League, Shadow Dragonite for Ultra League, Shadow Arcanine for Great League, and Shadow Victory Bell for Great League. This one was a champ. Oh my goodness, this thing was a beast for such a long time. It still is, but it's not as good anymore, I guess you could say, just due to the meta changing so much. It's still a pretty good Pokemon to use. Shadow Machamp definitely helped me a lot in the Ultra League Premier Cup. Even Shadow Dragonite was pretty fun to run. I haven't made any videos on this Pokemon yet, but hopefully in the future I can definitely showcase it. Once again, guys, with that 20% attack boost, moves like Dragon Breath are just going to hit so much harder, and that's ultimately what you want in the end. In this scenario, I can just farm down using Dragon Breath. I don't even have to use any charge moves, and it's going to destroy my opponent's Pokemon, even if I'm just going for neutral damage here. So again, Dragonite is definitely a great Pokemon in that regard. Shadow Machamp, you know, again, it's a little bit more on the glassy side, but counter plus cross chop, you can really hit through a ton of Pokemon. It hits really, really hard, and I love that about Shadow Machamp. I personally hate extra large Pokemon in the Ultra League Premier Cup, but at the same time, if you can't beat them, join them, right? This is a tough investment to get into. You guys can see right here, if I go to power up this Pokemon, it is going to require a decent amount of extra large candy to get it to 2493, 144 extra large candy here, 436,000 Stardust. It's a very expensive investment, but this one is also going to function as both a excellent raid attacker as an ice type, and then an amazing PvP Pokemon for the Ultra League Premier Cup. So Shadow Abomasnow, for me personally, with this IV spread is a win-win. Again, 96% IV, 14 attack. It is fantastic. I'm very, very excited to invest in this one in the future. Of course, we have the most recent Shadow Legendary Edition, Shadow Zapdos. Next month, I will be getting myself a Shadow Moltres as well, and then hopefully adding Shadow Mewtwo to my line. Multiple Shadow Mewtwo I might add in the future, so definitely looking forward to that. If you guys haven't watched my videos on the stackable Super Rocket Radars, I definitely do recommend it. I'll leave a link in the top right corner right now. You guys should definitely check out that most recent video I posted. The Shadow Snorlax is definitely a good contender as well. Probably not the best IV spread in terms of what I would want for maybe Ultra League, just given that it does have 15 attacks, so it's going to really boost up that CP in terms of the formula. But maybe I could, hold out for something better in the future. Either way, I did go ahead and mark this one. Whenever you get something that you could potentially use in the future, guys, always make sure to mark it, favorite it, tag it, do whatever it is you need to remember that this one is actually somewhat viable and you could use it later down the line. I got the Shadow Swampert with Hydro Cannon. I think I took advantage of this last December, so this one is a good contender as well. Additionally, I have the Shadow Lapras with amazing IVs, 15 attack, 15 defense, and 9 HP. Honestly, for a Shadow Pokemon, I got really lucky with this IV spread. So this Magneton right here, I am definitely going to invest in this for Shadow Magnezone in the future at some point. The Shadow Execute is definitely one of the best IV spreads I have on a Shadow Pokemon. 15 attack, 15 defense, and 12 HP. Without a doubt, this is going to be an excellent raid attacker. Shadow Executor is still a viable grass type attacker in the meta. So definitely good if I didn't have a ton of other really good grass types, but because I do, I'm going to hold off on this one for right now. But this one is still always really nice to look at. Shadow Grimer, this one could have some pretty good play in the Ultra League Premier Cup as well. So definitely holding on to this one. Again, this is a scenario where if I did Purify it, I would get a hundo, but it is so much more powerful in its shadow form. And then as you guys can tell, we can keep on going through this. I have a ton of Shadow Machop that I'm holding on to. We have some excellent IV spreads across the board. Again, you guys can really tell that I'm really holding on to tons of these Pokemon. Some better than others. We have the 0% Dratini that is quite the trophy Pokemon. I can't do too much with it. But again, in this scenario, right, this Shadow Dratini or potentially Shadow Dragonite is going to be more powerful than a 100% IV regular Dragonite or Purified Dragonite. So once again, definitely some food for thought there. And again, overall, I think you guys get the point here. I don't have too many Shadow Pokemon in terms of like ones that I would want to invest into in the future. We have some pretty viable ones that I have gotten, but of course, there's still tons of room to grow. I'm still trying to build out my Shadow Pokemon. And again, it's a lot easier said than done in terms of getting yourself some really good IV spreads on them. Anyways, though, I hope you guys understood that the point of this video was not to showcase my Shadow Pokemon, but mainly just to go over that Shadow Pokemon should almost never be purified in Pokemon Go. Hope you guys understand why that's the case. If you guys have any Shadow Pokemon that you want to flex on me, let me know in the comment section down below. I love seeing some of the Pokemon that you guys end up getting. Some of you are honestly so much luckier at this than I am because I still haven't even gotten a single Shadow Shiny in Pokemon Go. So again, flex on me in the comment section down below. It is totally warranted in this video. I'm asking you guys, please tell me what amazing Shadow Pokemon you guys have. And if you've made the mistake of purifying some amazing Shadow Pokemon in the past before, you can let me know in the comment section as well. Of course, religious rule of this channel, never purify your Shadow Mewtwo. You are wasting so much potential, and hopefully after watching this video, you understand why you should never purify your Shadow Mewtwo. That being said though, hopefully you guys did get something out of this one. If you did, definitely make sure to hit that like button down below. I'd really appreciate it. It would also help me out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you want to see more of these Pokemon Go videos in the future, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button as well. And I will see you all real soon in the next one.